Hi, I'm calling from the land of Sickville. This is the second day off in a row that I've taken off from work, and I'm pretty sure that my supervisor's going to have a lot of stuff to talk to me about, something about abusing sick time and whatever, but I am on the low end of functioning. And the worst part about being sick is you see how much you accomplish in a day versus how much you really wanted to accomplish today versus how much you needed to accomplish in a day. And that just sucks. Like, I'm looking around and I am a mess. I am a mess. My entire diet has consisted of whatever can fit in this mug, and usually it's either echinacea or broth, and that sucks. Because I've got a garden out there full of stuff ready to be picked, and I know it's tasty. But looking at how much I have accomplished versus how much I haven't accomplished made me think about the books that I have published. Okay, and after so many sleepless nights writing and rewriting and editing and hating myself for literary decisions, the book's published, and then I get told by everyone already in the writers community that that's the easy part. And I want to smack them and say, no, it's not true, and at the same time, I ask them to tell me more about it. Then comes the marketing, which is a level of exposure far worse than any flasher in a trench coat. Because I enjoy talking, for example, and, if someone wants to hear about nail binding, crocheting, gardening, whatever I'm up to, that's great, that's wonderful. And that's easy to do because it's easy to find hundreds of people who can also say yes to gardening, and yeah, that's awesome with the nail binding, and you even made your own needle and all that crap. But you say, hey, I've got a website about a book that I've written, everyone goes, oh, now I get to see this guy as a psycho. Because that's really what it is. It's a level of putting yourself out there, and it's genuinely yourself, and there's a really good chance that not everybody wants to see it, and most people don't care, won't care, shouldn't care, whatever. But you do it anyways because you've done something. You say that you've gotten a book published and people are instantly piqued and they want to hear about it, and I don't know what happens. I go from being able to talk to suddenly just given either the 5-second spiel or the 30-minute spiel out of anxiety. I think it's my own self-consciousness, my own self-awareness that really doesn't like talking about something that's that sensitive. I mean, I know Juniper Crescent to be a good book. I wrote it. I wouldn't have written it if I didn't think it was somehow good. But I got so tongue-tied that one time I was trying to drum up some interest for one of my book signings that a gal thought I was actually petitioning for the ISIS operation, where you mix animal genes into human genes and it cures cancer. Someone thought that was a real thing and ended up giving me a 5-minute lecture about why something like that is wrong on every level. I had to show her a bookmark and a copy of the book, and it's like, oh, yeah, I'll pass it on to my daughter, whatever. But the weird part is there are people who didn't want me to fail even more than I didn't want to fail. Because I was at a point where I was thinking, maybe failure isn't that bad an option for a dream. There are some dreams that never happen, for example, and so having a dream that happened and then failed, well, that sounds a lot like that better to have loved and lost than never to have loved before kind of deal. So that can't be that bad, can it? But I think people who had been through that situation before came down on me pretty hard and said, no, it is worth everything to sacrifice for what you really want, whether it is that book being published, it's that comic that you're working on, it's your art, it's you. So now I'm trying to get back into marketing, and I don't like it because it's that level of self-exposure that makes me uncomfortable. And the hard part is, on the surface, everyone has that same advice. For us as novel writers, it's whoring yourself out to whoever does book reviews. You know, I'm going to send you a copy. I'm willing to talk about everything. I'll do interview. I'll do blog posts for you. I'll serve you coffee. I'll clean your house and walk your dog. And in the end, you're just hoping and praying that one of them says, "Oh, sure, I got a little space on the infinite internet for you. Sure, I'll write a review. It's going to be my own honest opinion, which may or may not be good. But yeah, I'll give you a little bit of space." And we're thinking, oh, thank goodness, I'm getting somewhere in this book writing business. Which is prostitution. That's what it feels like, but that's what you keep getting drummed into your head, that's how you get successful, is you got to have people blogging about your books. You got to get people writing those Amazon reviews, and that is the hard part. Because I can sit down and write. That's easy. Heck, my wife's given me permission to wear the big stereo headphones, so with that big warning sign that says "Don't disturb" when I sit down to write, and she knows, okay, unless the house is on fire, I'm writing a reasonable amount of time, then I'll plug back into the world. But now it's turning around to getting those book reviews and marketing, and that's all the advice I get. Write a lot of blog posts and hope that someone else writes a lot of blog posts, no matter if they ask for a physical copy of the book, which is a monetary contribution towards something that may never amount to anything, or the digital copies, which is still a lot of people's works. I mean, you've got the author, sure, but then there's the editors, the graphic artists who made the book cover, the copy and layout formatters, and all the people that even made an ebook possible. And, you know, I'd spend hours trying to get those blog posts and those reviews and people willing to read the book when I'm literally putting it right there in their lap and I never hear back from them. But there are two people that I really have to thank who said, okay, try something different. You're going to do something different. So one of them is Chris Rush. I hope that's pronouncing his name right. He writes a comic called Shotgun Shuffle, which I really like, not just because it hits the fan service note pretty well, but because it presents characters in a very caricaturized version, which seems to show a lot more truth than it does the fiction that makes it look true, which I love as far as literary elements go. That's why jokers can get away with everything. That's why we trust comedians more with the news than we do the media and the news reporters, is because they can show it how it is. They're not bought by some media conglomerate and let me just hide the tinfoil hat now. Chris Rush gave me the idea to just talk, which is what I'm doing right now, and talk for longer periods of time. And hopefully you'll get to see me for who I am, and inevitably, if I keep plugging links to Juniper Crescent and Hallow Terrace at the bottom, someone's going to say, that might be worth checking out. And it feels like that would be a lot more successful than whoring myself out for book reviews. The other one is Sabrina Sumsian, who I met through a friend, and come to find out she is a friend of one of my favorite authors, Brandon Sanderson. Not that I've read Mistborn or anything other than Alcatraz and his young adult novels. I love Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians. Great series, but all of his young adult stuff is what I look for. I couldn't get into The Way of Kings. I couldn't get into any of his serious work, but by golly, you show me a kid with a talent for breaking stuff, and I'm all ears. But Sabrina had a lot of good advice about just being genuine and getting your book out there, which I'm going to put links to their websites at the bottom of this video. So if you don't check me out for, being the amazing author that I am, at least check them out, because they're worth it, and I love all of the advice that they've given me. I owe them a big thank you, because without it, I would be spending all my time whoring myself out for those book reviews and hating myself in the process. Because I've done some horrible chores and some stuff that felt absolutely useless, but getting those book reviews is a lesson in hating yourself. Because as much as you love yourself and you love the work that you've done creating whatever art it is, I've sent out, over 100 book reviews and offers to send them copies of the book, physical or digital, whatever. Not a single one has contacted me. So I'm either not saying it right, I'm not wording my email right, I'm not making their blog sound as important as I hope it'll be, or I'm just not tuning into the cosmos enough to be able to say it right to those individual bloggers for them to want a copy of the book. And I don't think I can do that much anymore. This coming from the guy who deals with people who know he's an enemy. That's my job. I'm in law enforcement. And I deal with people who treat me like a bad guy. And I can deal with them better than these book reviewer websites. That seems a little messed up to me. But when I detach myself from trying to get book reviews, it's easier to sit down and write. It's easier to believe in myself as an author when I'm not failing to get book reviews. So I'm cutting that out for a little while. See if that does something for me. If you're writing a book, if you've got a project that you're working on, keep it up. It is absolutely worth it. The sheer joy of looking at a copy of your book or your art or your game or your comic in print in your hands, even just an ebook, seeing it on Kindle, is a wonderful feeling that is absolutely worth it. Okay, don't ever give up on that part. But if you're trying to be the next Brandon Sanderson, that is harder. And there are a lot of people that struggle with it. And I wish I could tell you that it's worth it, but I can't say that I'm at the end of the rope where I can say it's worth it, but it's work. And I'd rather dedicate myself to work that doesn't pay off than the easy route that doesn't produce anything. There are lots of people that I've had the pleasure of talking to, and they're great people, wonderful people, but they ended up taking the easy way out. They're by all means better writers than I am, better artists than I am, better creators than I am. They've got great ideas, wonderful ideas, and even great skills in making these ideas come to life, but something scares them out of it. So I think the one advice that works no matter where you are or what you're doing is to work hard. I think video games put it best, and there's a bazillion different people claiming credit for saying this, but you're going the right way in a video game when there's enemies. When you see more bad guys, that's when you're going the right way. So if you encounter difficulties trying to get what you love going, that means it's worth something. And someday I hope to be able to tell you, yep, I'm at the other end of that tunnel and it's all worth it. But for now, the joy is in the work. So I'm going to try and be a lot more honest and a lot more open with some of these videos. And I hope that you get to see me a bit better. You get to see who I am and link down to my blog and think there might be something worth checking out. So, catch you later. Hopefully tomorrow. I'm going to try and make this at least twice a week. I know I can't do it every day because from about 8 a.m. on Sundays to 11 p.m. on Sundays, I have stuff going between church and work. But I'm going to be putting myself out there more, but in a way that makes me feel more comfortable. Right, so check out the links at the bottom. Chris Rush of Shotgun Shuffle, and Sabrina Sumsian. And then Juniper Crescent and my log. Catch you later.